Hello everyone, welcome to another leetcode problem. And today's problem is contiguous array. And guys, it is one of the most frequently asked coding interview questions at top tech companies. And I would recommend you to watch this video till the end and understand the approach and implementation for the same. It is quite trickier to understand the problem and the implementation as well. So let's get started with the problem statement. So the contiguous array is something where they give you a binary array and we have to find the maximum length of a contiguous array with equal number of 0 and 1. So if you see the examples, let's say if you have an input 0 comma 1, the output should be something like 2. It's because 0 and 1 is the longest contiguous subarray with equal number of zeros and ones. So within an array, it has to be the equal number of zeros and ones, then only we could say that it is the longest contiguous subarray, and we just have to pick the length of that subarray to get the output. So I believe these examples are not so good in terms of understanding this problem scenario, just because the input size is very small. So we have to take a bigger example to elaborate and understand what is the exact problem scenario and how do we approach it. So before I begin regarding the approach, guys, I would like to ask to subscribe to my channel, and that keeps me motivating to make more videos. So please subscribe, share, and share it with your friends if you have any. And if you have any kind of a feedback or questions as such, you can comment down below. I will answer them. Yeah. So let's get started with the approach. So in our approach, we are taking the binary array with 6 elements. So please ignore the last box. It is not required for this array. So we are going to consider the 6 elements binary array, and I'm going to use dictionary as a data structure, and I have and I use count variable and a max length variable, and this is one of the core idea in our approach. So our approach ideally based on two core ideas. So one is the count variable and the other one is the equation part. So let's understand what count variable does here. So count variable manages the binary array in such a way. So while we traverse through the array, if it comes across the element 0, it is going to decrement the count variable by -1. And if it comes across the element 1, it is going to increment the count variable by +1. So that is how it is managed, so such that every time whenever you find the equal number of zeros and ones, the count becomes 0, so that we can execute the next idea that we have built here, which is an equation. So let us understand this with an example by in this process. So so now let's say we are going to iterate this array, and we are at index 0. At index 0, the element is 0. So when we find the element as 0, we are going to decrement the count variable as -1. As you see, the count is -1. Then once I get this, I am going to insert the count variable -1 as a key and the index value of the element as a value in the dictionary. So that got inserted or stored into the dictionary. Now I am going to I go to the next element. As the next element it comes across the element value of 1, it is going to increment the count variable. So when it gets incremented, the count is updated to 0. So as it is updated to 0, as there is no key available in the dictionary, I am going to store it over there. So now we have key as 0 and the index of the element 1 as 1. Now once we do that, we are going to see whether 0 is available. Then we are going to execute the equation, which is max of max length, which is currently 0, comma the index. The index is, we are at the index 1, minus of -1 value. So guys, The second row in the dictionary is actually -1, so that was my typo. So please consider it as -1. Now once we do this, we get the max length as 2. Now the max length gets updated to value 2. Once we do that, we are going to go for the next element. So as we come across the element 0, as our process is to decrement the count variable by -1, so it is going to decrement it with -1, and it checks whether is there any key available with -1. So as there is a key available with -1, it is going to actually repeat the same process which it has done for at index 1. Then later it is going for the next array. So again it has come across the element 0, so it is going to decrement further from -1 to -2, and it is going to insert the key -2 and the elements index, which is 3. So once this is done, again it is going for the next element. Here it came across 1, so it has to increment the count variable with +1. So here it is going to increment it. So the count variable is -1 now. Now we are going to check is there any key present for with -1, and we found the first row as it is. Now as it found as the condition has been satisfied, we are going to execute the second one, which is the equation. So at the equation of index 4, we have the max length as 2 and the index is 4, and the dictionary of count, the value is 0, such that all it boils down to the max length of 4. Now the max length has been updated to 4. Once it once the updation is done, we are going for the next element. So the next element, again it comes across -1, so it is going to increment the value one more time, and we got the count variable as 0, and we are going to check whether is there any key with 0 value, and we get that, and we are going to process the same part, and this time we have the max value as 4 and the index location is 5 and the value is -1. So once we execute this command, we get the max length as 6. Again the last element, we update the max length and we go for the last element. So the last element as 0, we are going to decrement it with -1, and we are going to check the same thing whether we have -1 as a key, and we get the value as 0, and we are going to execute the max command one more time. So once you traverse all over the array, you get the max length value, and for this sample array as an example, we got the max length as 6 with the time complexity of O of n, just because we are traversing through the array entirely once, and with the same space complexity of O of n, as we are using dictionary of n elements with other few variables. So I believe this approach, I think you are able to understand my approach. So let's get into the implementation part. So in the implementation, let's import the collections to create a dictionary. So let's dict subarray collections of type int. So this will create a dictionary for us, and the max length is initialized to 0, count will be 0. Now we are going to set the count value in the dictionary, and it will be -1 as it has not been seen anything for now. Now we are going to iterate through the for loop. So in the for loop, I am going to see if the element is 0, I am going to decrement the value by -1, else I am going to increment the value. You could use ternary operations as well here, just to make things clarified for you guys. I had put the simple if else block. Now I'm going to check if the count is available in the dictionary as a key. So this would give me all the keys, and I'm going to check whether this particular count is available. If yes, I am going to execute the max command that I have been explained earlier. Max length, comma, I minus dict of subarray with count. I'm going to execute this. If the condition is not satisfied, I'm going to simply store the latest value into the dictionary. So once I do this, finally I'm going to return the max length. So we have created a dictionary, and the max length, count, incrementing and decrementation is good. If else max, yeah, everything seems good. Let's submit this code. Okay, there is a runtime error. Okay, n is missing. Fine, let's run it one more time. Yeah, so the submission result has been accepted. So guys, I believe you are able to understand the approach and implementation part. If you have any kind of questions, please comment down in the below section. I will answer them as soon as I see them, your questions or comments. So this is it for this video guys, and like I said, this approach will take time complexity of n, as we iterate with each and every element in the array, and the space complexity is also of n, as we insert the elements into the dictionary for each iteration. So this is it for the video guys. If you are visiting my channel for the first time, please subscribe to my channel and turn on your bell icon for the notifications. Thanks for watching. See you next time.